All right, today we're going to rewrite formulas and equations so that we can find some values easier, and mainly using the rules of equations you already know that we've already done. So let's just get to it. These are some of the most famous, or most popular, I should say, formulas that use the math and geometry and algebra. The distance formula: distance is rate times time, the temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius, area of a triangle, rectangle, perimeter, trapezoid, area of a circle, and circumference. You may want to stop the video and just jot some of those down because you're going to be seeing those a whole lot. Okay, first problem. Solve the formula, the circumference formula for R, then find the radius of a circle with the circumference of 44 inches. So let's do one thing at a time. First thing it says is solve it for R. So if I have circumference is 2 pi R, remember R is a radius. Because 2 pi R is all multiplied together, I'm going to divide each side by 2 pi. Everything except the R, because I want the R to stay. So the 2 pi's would cancel here. So my R is going to equal C circumference over 2 times pi. Now to solve it, or answer the second question, it says find the radius with the circumference of 44. So I'm just going to put 44 in for the circumference. And because 2 goes into 44 22 times, my radius would be 22 over pi. And if they want a decimal answer, you could just punch that in your calculator and put 22 divided by pi, and that will give it to you. But that's all you got to do. Solve for the variable and then plug in. So it's easier to solve. It's much easier to solve that way once you've solved for that variable. Another one like that one says solve the formula, this formula right here, the perimeter formula of a rectangle for W, then find the width. So we're going to solve first. So I have P is 2L plus 2W, and I'm trying to solve for the W. So I'm trying to get the W here isolated. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move the 2L over. So I get P minus 2L. That equals 2W. Now I'm almost there. One more step. I still have a 2 with the W. To get rid of the 2, because it's 2 times W, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Here it cancels. You get P perimeter minus 2L, L is length, divided by 2. Now the second part said to find the width if the length is 12. So all I'm going to do to get that is I'm going to plug 12 there, and it also said the perimeter is 41, so I'm going to plug 41 there. And this is what it's going to look like. Let me move it up just a little bit to have a little bit more room. And it's going to be the perimeter was 41, and the length was 12. All over 2, that's a 12, equals W. And just work that out. Let's take one more step here. 2 times 12 is 24 over 2. Which is W, so W is going to be 17 over 2. And then I want you to go, if you want to do the decimal form, you can always go 8.5. Now I'm not sure what the measurement was there. Let me see what it was. It was meters. So 8.5 meters is the width. So solve for the variable and then substitute it back in. All you got to do. One more of those. This is the area of a triangle. And if you look in red, they're telling you here, and I think this can be some of these in your book, the formula is right here, and they have an H in red. And notice down here it says find a H. So we're going to solve for H. And the reason I picked this one is because it had a fraction in it. And I wanted to do one with a fraction just to kind of show you it's not that big a deal. I do not like to work with fractions a whole lot, so I'm going to get rid of it first. Remember, fraction bar means divide. So to get rid of that 1/2, I'm going to multiply, which is the opposite division, both sides by 2. The left-hand side becomes 2a. The right-hand side, that just cancels, leaves me b times h. Remember, I'm trying to solve for h, so I have to do one more thing. I have to divide both sides by the b. That gives me h equals 2a, which is the area, over b of the base. So the problem then says find h if b is 12 and the area is 84. So the area is 84. That's going to go here. And it's also meters squared. And the base is 12 meters. That's the height. So if I multiply 2 times 84, that's 168 meters squared divided by 12 meters. Now watch what happens here. One more step. If I divide 12 into 168, it goes 14 times. So I'm going to get 14 for the height. But what happens with the measurements? Meters and meters squared cancel and just leave me meters. So 14 meters, which is pretty neat for the height. So recap one more time. Last one of these you'll see on the video. Solve for the variable that they tell you to, and then they're going to give you numbers to plug in for the other variables. Just plug them in, get your answer, and don't forget to put your measurement. I think I may have done that on the first one. Man, I messed up. It's okay. Fix it. Okay, 2 more, we're done. They're going to give you regular equations now, not anything to do with those formulas we saw earlier, and just have you solve it. This one right here says solve for y. It is 9x minus 4y equals 7. So I'm going to try to isolate the y, so I'm going to move the 9x to the other side. So it'll give me a 7 minus 9x. And I'm almost there. It says negative 4 times y, so obviously, like we've done all day, divide by negative 4. Over here it cancels. Get y is 7 minus 9x over negative 4. And then I have to find the value of y when x is negative 5. So I'm just going to take negative 5 and plug it right there and just solve what's left. Now it will tell me exactly what my y value is. So I'm going to have y equals 7 minus 9 times negative 5 divided by negative 4. Now that's a negative 9 and a negative 5, which is going to give me a positive 45 over negative 4. And if I add my 7 and 45, it's 52 over negative 4, which is going to be negative 13. So again, solve for the variable, plug in the other variable, get your final answer. One more. I want to do this one because it's kind of a weird one. It's got probably the hardest one you'll see, to be honest with you. It's got the variable to solve for 2 times on the same side, and you can't add them together. So here's this little trick, and here's what you do. Because they both have a y, I'm going to factor out the y, and that will leave me with the 2 plus x equals 6. You need to do that. If you see 2 of the same variable on the same side and you can't combine them into one term, that's what you need to do. Just factor it out. And then you got to really read what this says. It says y times this parentheses. Again, for about the 5th time today, the opposite of times is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2 plus x. And of course, on the left-hand side, this always happens. Cancels. And so this is what I end up with. Now they're solving for y. But then it does say to this, it says find y when x is negative 3. So obviously I'm going to plug that negative 3 right there in for my x. So I get 6 over 2 plus negative 3. Obviously 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. And if you divide that into 6, you get negative 6. That's all we're doing. So basically practicing your equation rules, but doing them with formulas and equations with 2 variables, and then having you plug numbers in to solve for that variable. So hopefully not too bad. Good review for our equation stuff we did the other day. And I'll see you in class tomorrow. Looking forward to it. See you then.